Today is May 23rd, 2015. Joining us on the porch is local musician Joanne Sherwood and Colleen Grimshaw from Fulton for your information.
The best place for family. What are you waiting for? Where friendships run deeper. Come join us on the porch. So glad you're on the porch.
Welcome to On the Porch. As you notice, this is not typically the voice that you hear when we start the show. Typically, you hear a male voice, and tonight this is a two-women operation as opposed to a three-person gig. So Renee and I are leading the show tonight. Matthew has flown the coop. He took a flight to Colorado this morning and is going to be on a river in Utah for the next 10 days. So he's recorded a couple of things prior to leaving that those of you watching tonight will not hear and see him do. But if you tune in on Saturday, you'll get to hear the sponsor and the Tonka Hogan story plugged in to the show. So welcome. We have a great show lined up for you. We're so excited to have Joanne Sherwood here as our musician and Colleen here to talk about Fulton FYI. I have to tell you that it's an interesting thing being in a room preparing for a radio show, a room full of introverts. As we all got ready for this show, we all sat quietly and checked in with each other, but the mood was very slow and quiet, and it was very zen. As we prepared for this show, there was no chaos that happened. And not only was there no chaos, but as we were getting ready, Matthew emailed the short that we're going to do this evening. He emailed it to me at about 6:30 tonight, and I printed it off, and we all kind of put our heads together and completed writing that short. So we all had input into what is going to happen for the skit that we do tonight. And we're all going to participate, and we were all a part of writing it, which was exciting because that's what happens when a room full of introverts tries to get something done. It happens. And so it's fun to be a part of that. Anyway, welcome to the show. So glad you're here. And I'm going to get Joanne up here. And Joanne, you're on the porch.
This is a song I wrote a couple of years ago, actually, while I was here at one of the Red Room sessions. It's called Time is Late. Cluttered thoughts spin around inside my head. My own cocoon, hard to leave and hard to shed. Peel away from that high branch where I cling. Time to spread some newfound wings. Time is light, setting with the sun. Stilts and shadows where our walk had once begun. Fleeting moments will not pass this way again. If not now, then when? Blinding blue sky, hang your wash upon the line. Pick up some luck from a dried out dandelion. Snap of the sheets, fresh clean cotton in the air. Wishes scatter everywhere. Time is light, setting with the sun. Stilts and shadows where our walk had once begun. Fleeting moments will not pass this way again. If not now, then when? What are you waiting for? What's in the way to follow a dream that Bumpy roots, sticks and stones will scrape my knees. Sweetest fruit is through the trees. Time is light, setting with the sun. Stilts and shadows where our walk had once begun. Fleeting moments will not pass this way again. If not now, then when? If not now.
And now, a word from this week's sponsor. It was 1849, and Walter Hunt was sitting at his desk, somewhere in New York State, trying to figure out how he was going to repay the $15 debt that he owed a man. And so he sat at his desk, and he had a piece of wire, and he sat there for 3 hours just twisting this wire and playing with this wire. And at the end of the 3 hours, he still hadn't figured out how he was going to pay back this debt. But when he looked into his hand, he realized he was holding this week's sponsor, safety pins. It was 1849 when Walter Hunt stumbled upon his newest invention, the safety pin. At the end of those 3 hours, the world now had a spring-loaded pin with a clasp. And ever since then, we've had safety pins to make our lives so much better. Why, think of that time that you were at the office and you sat down in your chair and you leaned over to open that bottom drawer to get a file out of your filing cabinet and the button of your pants flew off. What did you reach for? Safety pin. The best temporary button. Or how about when the zipper pull broke off of your coat? Safety pin. Fixed that in a hurry. Or the time that you got a little tear in the elbow of your best shirt. Just turn the sleeve inside out and you tucked a little safety pin in there. It's what we've used to keep our cloth diapers held together. Why, we've even used them to pop blisters and pull splinters. Safety pins are used for so many things. How about those arts and crafts folks? How many days did you spend at camp or preschool hanging out with safety pins and beads? Why, just one safety pin and a few beads, and a few minutes later, you had a pair of earrings. Or that nice little decoration that you stuck into the bottom lace of your pair of shoes. You remember those, because safety pins was there. Safety pins, ladies and gentlemen, holding the world together since 1849.
Good morning, passengers. Thank you for flying on the Porch Radio. Please sit in your seats, buckle your seatbelts, and your flight attendant will be around shortly to offer you a wide variety of snacks.
Hello, what could I get for you today?
What do you offer for $5? That's all the cash I have on me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We only accept credit card and debit card. No cash.
I'd like the Pringles, please.
Well, I'm very sorry, young man, but exit row passengers aren't allowed because if there's an emergency, we need to move fast and not make a mess.
I'll take a screwdriver, please.
I don't think so, ma'am. Passengers in the back of the plane can't because of a heightened risk of motion sickness.
I'd like a package of animal crackers for my daughter.
Well, ma'am, passengers with children can't because of the mess they might make.
Could I have a package of red licorice, please?
May I see your teeth? Passengers with dentures may not because of the heightened choking hazard.
Can I have a package of pretzels, please?
Can I ask what you're drinking?
I'm drinking wine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cheese only with wine, no beer or vodka. Pretzels only with beer, no wine or Irish cream. And no good allowed at any with rum or whiskey. Just sip the drink and relax.
I'd like the chicken and rice, please.
Oh, now you were in first class. You eat better than this.
Could I have the veggie tray, please?
Well, ma'am, no vegetarian options for passengers in leather. If you're going to wear its skin, you may as well eat its muscle.
A bag of Cheetos, please.
I'm sorry, ma'am, no food allowed for passengers with laptops. Crumbs may get into the keyboard. An airline does not want to be held responsible.
May I have the garlic and cheese plate, please?
Well, no food allowed for passengers in the middle rows of the seats. No passenger on either side of you wants to smell that cheese and garlic.
I would like to welcome Colleen Grimshaw to the show today. Colleen is from Fulton, FYI, Fulton for your information, and she's going to tell us about what Fulton FYI is about and what they're doing and all the cool things that are happening in this area and that FYI is working to promote. So start us off, Colleen. Tell us a little bit about yourself first and how you got involved in FYI.
Hi, my name's Colleen Grimshaw. I'm a member of the FYI, the Fulton for Your Information. How we got started was a while ago. Myself, my husband Alex, and a very good friend Jim Fafaya were sitting around and chatting, and we were talking about the state of Fulton and how different it is from when we grew up. We all grew up here. We went to school here. And we were talking about how Fulton sometimes has a very negative feeling on what's going on in the town. We see on the news someone from Fulton is being interviewed, and there's a lot of laughter going, oh yeah, look, it's a person from Fulton being interviewed. And it was bothering us. And so we decided we would get together and find out if there were other people in our community that felt the same way we were. It was a great place to grow up. It's a great place to raise your children. Does anyone else feel the same way? So we sent out notices to people and friends, retirees, people working, and said, do you feel the same way we do? Come join us. Let's talk. Let's see, do we all feel the same? And it was interesting because we did Post-it notes of things that we liked about Fulton, things we remembered about Fulton, how has it changed, and we were all pretty much on the same page as Fulton is a good place to be. It's got a lot of interesting things going on. It's just that there's just not a lot of information on what the great things are that's going on. It's just too much negative publicity. The news, you see about people getting arrested, but you don't see about the people who have cleaned up the parks. So we joined together. We have this organization, this group. We meet once a month, and we are in the process of getting together to have speakers to get the information out. What good things are going on in our community? How can we bring people together to show our community off in a good light?
That's great. That's really exciting.
It's been exciting.
And so everybody who is a part of FYI, the steering committee or the committee that is running this, has everybody on that committee grown up in Fulton, or they're...
No. We've had people who have moved from other places. We do have some people that grew up in Fulton. We have people that have come and gone. And yes, no, not everyone is homegrown.
That's exciting because it's good to have people that come into a place and are committed to showing off the cool things in that space too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
That's great. So what are the things? Give us some examples of some of the things that you're looking to highlight. What are the good things happening in Fulton that FYI knows about that can share with the community? What are some of those
We are
things?
looking to highlight those community events, those public notices that are going to better the community. We're not looking for axes to grind. We're not looking for complaining about something that we cannot change. We're looking to showcase things as the water project, our lake. We're looking to showcase that. How is it going? What is happening? Not a lot is being covered. We're looking to showcase of what we're doing for our parks. From this FYI, some people were recruited by one of our members to form on another group on the anti-littering campaign that is going on through Bob Green. So we've gone off into that tangent. Some of us have gotten on that committee and are helping out. Thank you. I am. Yeah. I've been very involved with that lately. What else have we been showcasing, Jim? We took a lot of what's going on in the schools. Our superintendent, Bill Lynch, he's been wonderful to work with us both on the anti-littering and to showcase what's happening in the schools. There are a lot of things going on. The children of Fulton in their art classes had beautiful exhibit of all their artworks. Not a lot of information out there. Yeah. Missed it. I did get to see it later, but those are the kinds of things we want to showcase. Here's something positive Fulton is doing. Get the word out. How do we get the word out? Those types of things.
That's exciting. So the challenge is then, how do you get the word out? So you've got this group of people committed to knowing all of these good things that are happening in Fulton. How do you share that with the community? What's the process you're taking to take that step then?
Our exciting initiative is to start at our meetings, have presentations in a form of a TED Talk. People in the community that have something to share that is for the community, to better the community, always again to make living here much better, will be asked or can ask if they can present 6 to 9 minutes in a TED Talk type of a situation. And we are going to have our first one July 9th at the town hall. And On the Porch is hosting us. And On the Porch is hosting us, which is wonderful. That is how we want to get the information out. During short presentations, this is what's happening. This is what's exciting. Again, we're not here to raise money, but I will, if you ask me and you have a great presentation, I may say I'd love to join your committee and help you raise money. Those types of things. But this is our aim, and is to hopefully maybe once a month do these TED Talk presentations. Yeah, I keep doing it. You can't see me, but I'm doing in quotations TED Talk. But yes, thank you for our first one, July 9th. We're so excited.
We're going to have too.
There's going to be music, and we're going to have presentations on what's going on in our community and the exciting things. So
yeah, we're excited as well, and we're excited to be a part of that first initial kickoff for what you're doing. It lines up very nicely with what we're trying to do with the wider area and highlight all of the amazing people doing amazing things in this area. So it's exciting that we can join forces, and it will be one of the shows that we're out in the community. And so you can come and watch us record on the porch, and then that will be the show that we put up the following Saturday. So it's exciting. Make sure that you come out on July 9th and support Fulton FYI and On the Porch. So, Colleen, to finish up, if somebody listening really wants to be involved in either presenting for FYI or being a part of the committee or has great ideas that they want to share with you, how do they get involved?
Our next meeting is June 15th at 7 p.m. at 34 South 1st Street, which is the old Proudest building in Fulton, if you've grown up here. And we have a meeting then, and please come to join us. Please come to say, I have something I'd like to present. Please come to just say, I'd like to help out some way, somehow. We would love to have everyone and anyone come. So June 15th. Yes, June 15th, 7 o'clock at 34 South 1st.
June 15th, 7 o'clock. Very good. Thank you so much, Colleen.
And thank you for having me. And as I enjoyed watching all this be set up. So come on July 9th.
Thanks, Colleen. Thanks for being on the porch. Thanks again for joining us on the porch. We'll be right back. What's happening in Central New York is brought to us by iHeart Oswego. This weekend is Croquet Weekend at Fort Ontario in Oswego. Come out and enjoy croquet, the hottest sports craze of the Victorian era, with friends and family at Fort Ontario. Open play will be held today from 10 to 5, while a special tournament will be held on Sunday. Anthony Joseph Swingtet performs at Bistro 197 in Oswego tonight from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. The waterfront photography of Laura Brazek will be on display at the Oswego Public Library through May. Romeo and Juliet closes tonight at the CNY Playhouse. Visit cnyplayhouse.com for more information. The 11th annual Sterling Stage Folk Fest runs this weekend, featuring many bands, including the Ryan Montbleu Band. Visit sterlingstage.com for more information. The Oswego Music Hall hosts an open mic night featuring guest host Mark Wall on Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. And Natalia Zuckerman performs on Saturday, May 30th at 7:30 p.m. Visit oswegomusichall.org for more information. The CNY Arts Center hosts a Writers Cafe the last Sunday of the month, with the next session on May 31st. The Arts Center is also currently offering adult painting classes and writing classes. Visit cnyartscenter.com for more information. The Red Room sessions at Wooden Apple Farmstead are a time for songwriters, musicians, and anyone else who wants to build their musical skill and knowledge to get together. We share songs we are working on, bounce musical ideas off each other, and we usually have time to just play a little music. This is a supportive environment where all levels of songwriting and musical experience are welcome. The next session is May 31st at 6 p.m. Joanne Sherwood is a local music teacher and also performs locally at open mics. I've known Joanne for several years, and it's really fun to hear her music and to get to see her conduct the orchestras at the schools as well. She's been the music teacher for our kids, and it's been really fun to get to know Joanne. So Joanne, we're so happy you're on the porch.
I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for being here. How did you start doing music? When did music become a part of your life?
I started music in 4th grade. I was in band. I learned how to play the clarinet. And then the next year, my mother actually got me guitar lessons. And I was one of 5 kids, and that was a big deal for me to be able to have guitar lessons for a year. So that's when I started guitar. And I've kind of had it on and off through the years. I picked it up and put it back down again. And I just picked it up again about 3 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. So clarinet in 4th grade, guitar in 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
When did you know, you're a music teacher now in the Fulton School District, when did you know that that's where you wanted to take your music?
I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. That was for sure. Like by the time I was 10, I knew that. But when I got to high school, Fulton had an amazing band program. And the year before I got into high school, they went to Europe, and they performed and toured Europe. And that was what I was walking into, a grade 6 gold band. It was amazing. And so I was a part of that for 4 years, and that's what really launched me into the being a professional musician and going into music school and all that. And there were quite a few students from Fulton that actually did that at that time. It was just so important.
Yeah. It's exciting that music in schools is what inspired you to do music in schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's
Right.
That's a neat story. That's where you started. You started your instruments through a school program, and it's the school program that really inspired you to launch that as your career. So that's a neat story.
When, like I said, I was from a big family, and when I was starting to learn how to play an instrument, it was like, okay, we have a clarinet. This is your choice. So, okay, I'm going to play the clarinet. And back then, you didn't play the trombone. The girls didn't really.
Right,
so it was like, okay, I'm going to play the clarinet. And so that's what I studied all the way through college, but it was really not what I wanted. So being a band teacher, going into music, I got to learn all of the instruments. And that's when I really got excited about, playing everything.
Yeah. So you can play, because you're a music teacher, you can play everything.
Yes. Yep.
That blows my mind. It's really cool.
There's some things I don't like to play, but
and I always say, I'm pretty proficient on a lot of instruments. Any instrument that has a string, I can play.
Mm-hmm.
Any instrument I have to blow into.
Yeah. No, you don't want that.
No, it's not. No, but you can do them all.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, what's your favorite?
I really don't have a favorite. Clarinet wouldn't be it, though. I love to play the French horn. I think that's my favorite to play, play. But I have a flute too that I bought a couple of years ago. Really nice flute. That was something I always wanted to, so I like to play that too. That's probably my favorite woodwind to play. But
oh, that's very cool. Now, if French horn, isn't that super difficult? Isn't that one of the ones that's supposed to be very, very
You have to
play?
be able to sing to play the French horn because it is the most difficult instrument for a child to start on because you have to hear the pitch in your head before you can blow. Because if you don't push any buttons on a French horn and you blow, you could get 10 pitches. So in your head, you have to know what it's supposed to sound like before it comes through the horn. Amazing. So you really have to know how to sing and hear the pitches in your head before you can actually play the notes.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings up another question. You get to know these kids. Mm-hmm. They come in and they say, I want to play French horn.
Can you sing? That's the first question. Do you sing? Do you like to sing?
Do you guide them? Do you let them do what they want?
I guide them. They always have, I tell them to put down a second choice. So, then they know what they want, and then I say, everybody's built for a certain instrument. Not everybody can make a sound on a flute, even if you want it.
I can't.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
Really,
no,
it's
honestly,
all physically how you're made.
Right.
It's physically how you're made. If you're going to blow into something, or to play a brass instrument, to be able to buzz your lips, if you can't do that, you can't play a brass instrument.
Right, I can't.
So, yeah. And, some mouthpieces are bigger and some are smaller, and some people have thinner lips. They fit the small mouthpiece. So it's very a physical thing, and I can usually look at them and say, okay, this is, here are your choices. This will be the best fit for you. Would you be happy with it? I never would push anything on anybody, but that's how I do it. So.
And do you find that the kids are pretty satisfied with how you guide them in that process?
Yeah, I really do. I would never deny them what they really love because they're not going to work at it unless they really love it.
Right.
So I try to get as close to what they like as possible.
Right. So. Very cool. Okay, so give us one of your favorite moments of working with music and kids in a school setting. What's one of your best stories?
I get to work in small group lessons, which is, we have big band rehearsals every week, but I get to work with small group lessons, and I can't even tell you, there's so many stories, but kids tell me things that they won't say anywhere else during the day, and that's always been really cool to be able to just be kind of a mentor. And one day this little girl had her music folder out. She's a trumpet player, and she's like, behind all her music, she goes, these are all my letters to my mom. I don't get to see her very often, so I write her letters, and I keep them in here, and I can't show them to my stepmother or anybody else. It's a secret,
Wow.
But she showed me these letters to her mom, and she said, I really miss my mom, and I can't see her a lot. But today actually had a musical moment. This one girl that I have on French horn, who is like, it's like Groundhog Day. Every week she comes and she doesn't get any better. She comes and she doesn't get any better. So today we did a little analyzing, and I changed one little thing that she is doing and fixed it. And it was like a switch, and she could play what we were doing on the paper. And it was like, oh,
that's exciting.
I had just about given up on her, but today was a good day. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
Very cool. And what a beautiful thing, what a beautiful gift to be able to give to the kids that you work with. So let's shift gears before we finish, because then you're going to play. You play at open mics, and you play out in the community as more of a folk musician as well. So how did you get started with that, and why do you continue to do that?
I started playing, I was involved in the Newman Center in Oswego, and met some other musicians there, and we started playing together, and I got introduced to the Oswego Music Hall then. I got introduced to folk music. I didn't even really know what it was. I thought it was like all the old style songs that you would hear, like Blowing in the Wind and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know. And then I got talked into going to NERFA, Northeast Regional Folk Alliance Conference, one year, and it's held in the Catskills. It's a whole weekend of music, and I walked in the first day and the first night, and I heard the music, and I said, "This is folk music. This is like amazing." You can't even describe what it is today and what you can hear, and it's really something. Mm-hmm. And I've discovered a lot of new artists that way, and so that's kind of where I got excited about it and playing the guitar again, because I hadn't played it for a long time.
Yeah. Well, we're really glad that you do play, because it's so fun to listen to what you write and what you perform. So you're going to perform another song for us?
This is a cover.
Excellent.
Many of the Miles, Sarah Bareilles.
Very good.
There's too many things I haven't done yet. There's too many sunsets I haven't seen. You can't waste the day wishing it slowed down. You would have thought by now I'd have learned something. I made up my mind when I was a young girl. I've been given this one world. I won't worry it away. But now and again I lose sight of the highlight. I get stuck in the low light. Then love comes in. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles, many the miles. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles. Show me the miles, and I'll be happy to follow you, love. I do what I can wherever I end up to keep giving my good love and spreading it around. 'Cause I've had my fair share of take care and goodbyes. Learn how to cry, and I'm better for that. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles, many the miles. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles, but send me the miles, and I'll be happy to. Red letter day, I'm in a blue mood, wishing that blue would just carry me away. I've been talking to God, don't know if it's helping or not, but surely something has got to give, 'cause I can't keep waiting to live. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles, many the miles. How far do I have to go to get to you? Many the miles, but send me the miles, and I'll be happy to follow you, love. There's too many things I haven't done yet. There's too many sunsets I haven't seen.
While Joanne is grabbing the music, we're going to do a song together. I'm going to put a plug in, which is just, I think this is a really cool moment, because we're here at On the Porch. We're supporting Fulton FYI, which is supporting all of the local stuff. On the Porch is committed to supporting all of the awesome stuff we're doing locally. And Joanne and I both have guitars up here, and they are both made locally. They're amazing guitars made by Mark Wall, and so not only are we all doing really cool things locally and supporting local business, but we've even gone so far as to have our instruments made locally, and I think that's neat. Yeah.
Riding on the city of New Orleans, Illinois Central, Monday morning rail. 15 cars and 15 restless riders, 3 conductors, 25 sacks of mail.
All along the southbound Odyssey, the train pulls out of Kankakee, rolls along past houses, farms, and fields, passing trains that have no name, freight yards full of old black men, and the graveyards of rusted automobiles.
Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. Now I've been gone 500 miles when the race is done. Dealing card games with old men in the club car. Penny a point and no one keeping score.
Pass the paper bag that holds the bottle. Feel the wheels rumbling beneath the floor.
And the sons of Pullman porters and the sons of engineers ride their father's magic carpets made of steel.
Mothers with their babes asleep, rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rails is all they feel.
Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime in the city of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, we'll be there by morning, with the Mississippi darkness rolling down to the sea.
But all the towns and people seem to fade into a bad dream, and the steel rail still ain't heard the news. The conductor sings his songs again. Passengers will please refrain. This train's got the disappearing railroad blues.
Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done.
I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. I wanna have an adventure. I wanna go around the world. I wanna live a full lifetime, right in the space of a twirl, round a city that sparkles with lights in the darkest of wilderness nights. And when the sun comes up, I wanna head back home, back to the place I love, back to the life I know. I see a big sky over a big world. Now I'm headed home to the place I love. I wanna sail the ocean, stand at the top of Mount Everest, be in perpetual motion, capture the beauty of stillness, name every star in the sky, every flower that catches my eye. And when the sun comes up, I wanna head back home, back to the place I love, back to the life I know. I see a big sky over a big world. to truly come home when we haven't been out in the world on our own and the sun comes up. I wanna head back home, back to the place I love, back to the life I know. I see a big sky over a big world. Now I'm headed home to the place I love, and the sun comes up. I wanna head back home, back to the place I love, back to the life I know. I see this big sky over this big world. Now I'm headed home to the place I love, to the place I love.
Thank you.
It was 1928 when G.W. Lake decided he needed to leave Tonkahogen and give himself a retreat. He'd been working for a long time at a factory just outside of town, the chocolate factory, where every time it was going to rain, you could smell chocolate in the air. G.W. loved that, but he also loved to take a break, and he hadn't had a vacation or a day off in 8 years. It was time. So G.W. packed up his stuff, said goodbye to his family, borrowed his friend Jacob's canoe, and traveled to the St. Lawrence River. It was only his 4th day on the river when he came upon a group of men sitting on the shore, and what he saw felt really odd to him. There were canoes, just like his, pulled up. There was a camp set up, just like the camps that he made. But they looked good. They were dressed up. They had on suits, really nice hats. And around their camp, where they were all standing, were easels. And these men were painting. G.W. had to find out what was going on. He knew that he was on this trip to find himself and to have that retreat. And it was only too clear that he needed to interact with these men. So G.W. pulled his canoe in, he paddled up to shore, and he introduced himself. One of the men, by the name of Arthur Lismer, was the first to step up and introduce himself, and he explained to G.W. that they considered themselves what they called the Algonquin School, or what they became more popularly known as the Group of Seven. And this Group of Seven was a group of men who got together regularly to paint. And they ended up creating their own style of painting. And the whole point was for them to get outside and to be able to help people understand how the Canadian wilderness spoke to them. And they were taking a trip down the St. Lawrence as well. And every time they stopped to camp, they would get out their art supplies and they would paint. So they invited G.W. to pull up an easel and paint as well, and they introduced him to their style of painting. And with bright, vivid colors and a very clear depiction of what was happening around him in the natural world, G.W. created something he had never created before. And so he stayed with them that night, and another night, and another night, and he hung out and painted every day, and they talked about life, and they talked about painting and art. They talked about the natural world and how G.W. always felt a real connection with the environment and the natural world around him. But it wasn't until he started painting it and adding his own twist to it that he really studied it and really became connected with it. By the time G.W. got home, he had been gone for 21 days, and on his way home, he had bought his own art supplies, and he stopped twice to get out a canvas and some paintbrushes and some oil paints and to recreate what was there on the roadside. He got home, After 21 days of being gone, and walked in the house with his paintings, and he showed his wife, and he explained his whole experience, and he explained it to his children, and he was so excited, and he wanted to introduce them to this style of art, and he wanted to introduce them to the group of 7. And it wasn't until many years later that GW learned more about the group of 7 and realized what he was introduced to there, and what his interaction really meant to him and to others in the art world, and what an influence that group of 7 would become on many artists and many styles of art. And in those many years later, the reason he decided to do more research and to learn more was because he and his wife were clearing out the attic, and his wife pulled out the paintings and said, "Are we ever going to do anything with these? Do you want to hang them, or can I just get rid of them?" And of course he hadn't looked at them in a long time. And they were beautiful, and they moved him, and he couldn't believe that those had been created at his hand. He asked if he could hang them, and his wife agreed, because when he dusted them off and held them in the light, she saw something that she didn't ever remember seeing as well. And they had a beautiful sunroom, and just off that sunroom was a nice little den, where the sun came in, but not enough to harm the paintings or bleach them out. So they hung the paintings in that den, and every time people walked into that room, they would comment on what beautiful paintings they were and who they were by and where they got them. And people were always drawn to one specifically. It was one of the paintings that GW painted when he got home and had explained it to his wife, and took her out one day to show her how it worked. Tried to motivate her to paint as well. She never did, but he loved it. And that painting that everybody was drawn to was of a small stream that ran right behind a group of trees where wild grapes were growing and hanging from the branches of these trees. And he just picked one section between 2 trees where you could see the stream in the sun, you could see the hills behind it, and you could see the grapevines and the grape leaves hanging really clearly between those 2 trees. And even though the title was really long, it explained exactly what GW felt. And when he explained the title, and he explained why it felt so good every time people asked, it only made sense to them. And a neighbor had heard about this painting, had seen it, but had never asked what the title was. And so she came over one day after she heard some folks talking out on the lawn after they had left the house about what a fantastic painting it was. She walked over to the house and asked GW if she could see it again, and asked if he could tell her the title. And right before he spoke, right before he told her the title of that painting, the light came through the sunroom and hit the painting just right. She didn't need him to tell her the title of that painting, because she could hear it through the trees. She could hear it. And if you look at the painting yourself close enough, you can hear it too, with the sun shining on that stream. And as the water rushes over the rocks, the title speaks through the painting. Listen. This is my home. This is my only home. This is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. And should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden.
Thanks for joining us on the porch. Thanks to Colleen and Joanne for being our guests. Thanks to our audience here at the Wooden Apple Farmstead, our audience on the computer. Thanks for helping us kind of wing this without Matthew. And on Saturday, you will hear the Tonka Hogan story that comes at the end. We'll slide that in. And we will also have a sponsor. Our sponsor this week is Safety Pins. You won't want to miss it. But again, thanks for being here, and peace to your journey.
On the Porch is a production of the Wooden Apple Farmstead with guest host, musical director, and sound technician Gina Holsapple. Our stage manager is Ray Monet. This week's writers include Gina Holsapple, Matthew Wood, and the guests in our audience. Find information about past shows, being on the porch, and much more online at ontheporch.weebly.com.